Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I've got one of my trash journals that I've been working in, and it's amazing how quickly they fill up. I just love this journal so much. You all might remember it. It was made from a cookie box, Archway oatmeal raisin cookies. I just, left 3 sides of the box, then glued a piece of heavy file folder on the outside, put some ribbon on for a tie, and something I just did today was to put this hemp cord in so that I can tie things like the rusty washers that I find. But looking at the inside of this, all of the signatures were put in with the sewing machine, and I know that I showed you this at the very beginning. This has quite a bit in it, and I think it's really pretty. What I'm doing at this point is going through and adding some things that I like to embellish the pages. It's hard to think about trash being pretty, but it really is. If you treat it like other things, if you treat it like scrapbook paper or things that are meant to go in journals, it brings out the artistry in the ads and the lettering and the colors, and ads are really meant to draw us in. And it does keep it out of the landfill. I've been in the mood to stamp words on fabric. So I have a few pieces of just muslin and cotton and sort of heavy canvas fabrics. You can see I've stamped the word love here. I've already put some other words in, but I decided to turn the camera on and just go through here and find some places to glue some things or maybe sew some things. It's hard to sew down into the centers of the pages once a journal gets this full, but you can manage to sew along the edge if you decide to do that. Like here, that might be sort of neat if I can do that. So what I do is just, flip the pages back and hold them, and then put this part under the presser foot and use the forward and back button to go where I want to go. Because obviously this is too big to turn every which way. So I went forward here, and I went backwards here. So you just kind of have to do, use that function to make the needle go where you want it to go. And that actually leaves a tiny little pocket, which would be good for something like a feather, like this. Isn't that pretty? My mom is so sweet to pick up these guinea feathers for me. She has guineas on her little farm. So you can see I've just continued to add labels, gluing things in and sewing things in. But I do like stamping images of pretty things as we go through. I'm kind of on the last touches. I probably will add a little bit more, trash and things in here, because every single day, I feel like truly every day, I have more, I produce more recycling or create more recycling. It's kind of scary when you think about it, how much we have to get rid of every day. You can see I've put postage stamps in here. There are all sorts of food labels, pieces of boxes. There's a birdsong stamp there. And here's one stamp. I remember saying when I put that one in that I would be adding another one. And I do keep stamps right on the desk for this kind of thing. I like to use stamps in my journals. Postage stamps and ink stamps. Here I found, and sometimes when I clean up, if I come across pieces of paper or scraps on the floor that, fell by accident, I will just go ahead and stick those in. That was a bead that I found on the floor, and I decided to just tie it onto the threads here from sewing. We have a coffee label here that's been attached to some scrapbook paper. Please put litter in its place. So it's fun and it's clever to do things like this, like junk journals. Please put litter in its place, like junk journals. See, there's more room to add things. I could put something over this. And in fact, I've got the cover of this art book that I've been cutting out of, and It's got these images on the front, which are nice to be able to use. This is kind of glossy, and it's not, I wouldn't use this in a journal necessarily because it is glossy, and just because of, you know, all the images being right there together. Now, and all of these images on the cover were reproduced on the inside of the journal. There's a little coffee label there from some instant coffee. The book cover paper was just a little bit waxy, or not waxy, but it's got a finish on the inside that doesn't always stick. You can see it peeling up right here. So I've just been taking some pretty washi tape and helping it to stick by making a little frame. There we go. And we can glue more things over here. If you notice some of the color that I have in the journal as we go through, I love these gelato crayons. They go on really smooth. And you can see, I don't care if it runs over to the next page. Sometimes I will just put some color in and then come in and just paint that around. Again, not really worrying if it goes over a little bit. This is a trash journal after all. And I think it's one reason that trash journals can be so successful. And someone mentioned it here before, we're free to create. We're not, you know, constrained by fear that we're gonna mess something up. It's already trash. So maybe we try things that we wouldn't normally try. There is a little top that was in a candle. Actually, one of these candles from the Dollar Tree. You can see, there's a bead in there. You can see where that would have sat right on top of that. Oh, I need to put something in here. So that's one of my just favorite things, is these envelopes where they have the windows and you can cut things out and put them in, and it's so pretty like that. So let's cut across the top here. This is just a page I printed with some vintage ads. Let's go down this way. We'll try to get the size just right. Right across here. I just kind of guesstimate. And then we can slide that right in there, which is really pretty in there. And then we may also find a pretty image to go in there. And again, I'm just going to pull out this book that's falling apart, that's got images I like to use. Let's see if we can fit her in somehow. When it's a little narrow window like that, you kind of have to think of what part you want showing. So I think I would put it about right here, and then we can add, I'm going to put a drop of glue. Let's see. Got to be careful not to get it everywhere. Let's put one right behind that centerpiece, and I did get a little bit on the cellophane. We're not going to worry too much about that. And then let's put one here. Let's put a tiny bit more there to make sure this is adhered to the envelope all the way across. Because that's going to leave us a pocket behind that. We have space here for something. There's just so much in here that we could do. So this is the image from a box of string lights that I bought for my workshop. Every once in a while, a light, a string of lights just completely burns out, and you can't fix it, even trying different bulbs and things. So sometimes it is time to just get a new string of lights. So what is today? It's the 25th. This doesn't have a year, but it does have 0825, and it's got some little hearts there. Things like this just make a journal pretty, especially a trash journal. Air parcel post. I like this one. Via airmail. Ooh, I like that. Sometimes I cover up the UPCs. So I was going to put this on this side, and then I went back to look what was over here, and I want to cover up the UPC. So we will put that one over there. And then coming back to this side, let's see what we have that we could add. That's pretty. Let's put that there. I do like that right there. So let's see. We have this space, another place to put an image. Art. That came from the art book, of course. Let's see. Let's say do not bend. There. That's cool. Like that. And I will be able to turn this. Oh, that puts that upside down. And I smeared it. It's okay. In fact, we will stamp it again. What do we want to put in here? I have a basket nearby that's just full of all sorts of things. She would be pretty cool in there, I think. Might still be too long. Oh yeah, I like that. We're gonna put some glue in the back of her, because I'm just gonna glue this one closed while we're here. There's part of a painting. I painted that a few years back, and I liked it okay, but it had a lot of different layers on the canvas. And one of the layers was vintage, like magazine pages, and it started to actually flake away and crack. And it wasn't a pretty sort of cracking. So I cut this into pieces and just put it in my basket of ephemera. Like there's a good little pocket. We don't have any clear places on the other side, so I've just put stamps and things. And this looks like a good place for one of those. Just add to it a little bit. I've gone through and put distressing. Got a little pocket there, and so that's one of the ones where I've glued that. We can't put anything behind it. You know what we could do, which would be interesting? We could cut right by here and glue this part of the envelope down and only leave part of it standing up. And then we sort of have just a little pocket there. We could glue something under there. There are so many things you can do. I love working with trash. To me, somebody asked me not too long ago, what do I do to get inspired? And today I felt sort of blah, you know. We can't always explain what makes us feel that way. But when I woke up this morning and that feeling was there, I thought, I'm just going to play in my trash journal today. I'm going to work with something that doesn't require any special fussing. I can just be spontaneous. I can put just whatever feels pretty at the moment. You know, whatever that is. On this page, let's put some watercolor. Maybe just be a little messy with it. And again, it's okay to get on the edges and just carry things through the journal. There's a spot that we could put some stamps. You can see where I put some alcohol ink and just let that run down. There is washi tape covering the part of a brad. This is the, that's the back part that unfolds. And then I love this. I got some shoes yesterday. They're really cute. 2 pairs at Rose's. And I love to go in Rose's department store. It's a very, very reasonably priced selection of goods. And sometimes you find really unusual things that would be in more expensive stores, and they just happen to get some shipment in of that kind of thing. But they had the cutest little tennis shoes. They look like old Converse. They look like what I wore when I was in 6th grade, and they were only $7.99. And then I got another little pair of just like tie-up tennis shoes, the kind that tie with the white string, and they had flowers on them. They're really cute, and those were only $5.99. So the brand is Love 83. I love that label, actually. This is an insert to a box of pierced earrings. So I took it out of the box and just laced through some hemp cord, and onto the hemp cord I've got this old, it was with some buttons. It looks like a mother of pearl, and just really pretty. It's not a regular button though, so it made a perfect little charm to tie at the top there. And I've done some work there. Let's see, there's room here to add some stuff, and here is just distressing and alcohol ink. That is the tag from the beautiful sample of linens that I found that had the lace. It was just so beautiful. So I sewed that in. I like to use as much trash as possible. Oh, there's one of the labels for the little shoes. And there's a label from some candy I got when I was out shopping, turtles. And there's a bag from some sauerkraut. I love the Boar's Head sauerkraut. We eat that quite a bit. And you can see I put an old image in there from a magazine and just sewed around. And that, I attached that on the center here with some brads because, again, it's impossible to put this all the way under the sewing machine once you've put the pages in. I like that. That's just a piece of junk mail that's been distressed, the envelope actually, and then that was from a page I printed out of old ads, and I cut that out to go in there. You can study law at home. I think you used to be able to study to be a nurse and a doctor from home as well. And then this is a bag. What was this from? Oh, some bread, brioche bread. And it's got French recipe, and you can see the Eiffel Tower. So I just put an image behind that and some pretty scrapbook paper and sewed that bag up. And it's attached partly with the brads as well. On both sides here, there's 3 brads. 2 are facing this way and 1 is that way. This is probably one of my favorite things. I think it's so funny. That's a wrapping from a Bojangles biscuit. And of course, this paper is crinkly and very lightweight. So I made some of my paper ruffle with the sparkly trim from the Dollar Tree and just glued that in. And we have more from the Vintage magazine. That magazine's falling apart. It's a Montgomery Ward, I think, from the 30s. There's some tape from the Dollar Tree. Here's one of the pieces of fabric that I stamped. And again, washi tape. That's from a Chex cereal box. Just a little coupon I found cleaning up. And there's an image in that envelope. That's from a bag of coffee. Another piece of fabric. And you can see just so many layers in here. Oops. Got to be careful for the glue. I don't know how. Let's see. That could also be like a sticky part from where the envelope was flipped over. I don't know. So let's just wet that. Okay. Oh, I love the way that it's just all crinkly now. There is a wax seal. When I very first got my supplies, I poured some onto paper. I glued it in upside down. I just realized that. And then I tore the paper away, and that was just some practice ones. And I had this one just, you know what? Look at that. It's still wet enough. I did that earlier. Let's turn it while we can. It'll probably stick even better like this. Can't believe that pulled up so easily. There we go. Now that's the right way. There's another label from that beautiful lace sample. And I still have a lot of work to do here. Done a little bit. There's a recipe from a macaroni and cheese box. There's from packaging tape. If you are a seller, you know how much packaging tape you go through. And I thought this was fun. He's got his hands up, and it's on a Starbucks label, and I've got coffee, please. So, looks like a design from a stained glass window. And then we have an image in here of all of these old, like the Dutch masters, one of those paintings, and it actually shriveled up some when I was drying it with the dryer, so it's like it pulled everything in, just like shrunk it right in the center, and now it's really tight. There is Pleasure in the Pathless Woods, Lord Byron, from a tea bag. So this journal is very full. You can see it's still a little wet there. I need to dry that. It's very full and chunky and satisfying. I love this journal, but there is still room to work. And I think, you know, by the time, I think in the next few days, this one's going to be done. By the time I add the labels that I will accumulate over just a couple of days, we'll finish this out. And I'm going to do some more stamping. I've got to go to the post office this afternoon. I did want to just turn the camera on and show you what I've been working on this morning. I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for being here and for watching. Bye for now.